Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena, and in today's video we're going to be catching up while I sew up a new dress from 1955. Also, I want to introduce Shirtwaist September. So if you're interested in seeing what I've been up to and what I plan on sewing today, go ahead and like and subscribe. And now let's get into the fabric and the pattern. For today's pattern, I'm going to be sewing Simplicity 1191 in a size 12 bust 30. This pattern is from 1955 and it comes in 3 views, 2 sleeveless, 1 with collar, 1 without, and 1 view with a collar and sleeves. For the fabric, I'm using 100% cotton, and the name of it is called Seafood Platter, and it features lobster, shrimp, crab, and I think parsley and lemon. In the event this becomes more of a chatty video instead of an instructional video, I have sewn this dress on camera before. It was my lemon lime dress, and so I'm going to link that above. Please do check that out and see how I color block this pattern in view 3, which is the sleeveless and collarless option. It's been almost 4 years since I originally made this pattern, and I'm excited to tackle it again, especially the view with the collar. I put it off for a while because it does consume a lot of yardage. Also, I was under the impression that I was missing the collar piece for this, and I was putting off drafting it, but I do have the collar, so really I could have just bought the fabric and made it years ago. I'm really excited about this project for a few reasons. If you watched my last video, I was frozen when it came to sewing because I was having decision fatigue. I couldn't decide what project to start and when because I had so many beautiful fabrics. This is one of them. I bought this over the winter and I bought 8 yards of it because I just loved it so much. I finally was able to cut into it. I love the way that this dress turned out in the end, and I'm already lining up to do the next project so I can make decisions again. Also, I was really excited to try out my new, to me, electric scissors. These are actually vintage Sears Kenmore electric scissors, and they do plug in, and so I was really excited to try these out, and they worked wonderfully. You can purchase modern cordless electric scissors, but I don't mind having a cord, seeing as when we first built out my sewing room, my husband added extra outlets for all of my machines. Originally, I was going to make a sailor style dress with a yellow contrasting sailor collar, but then I changed my mind, and I'm not quite sure why because I felt like this would be the perfect fabric for that. I'm pretty sure it's probably because of the contrasting fabric and I didn't want the details to be too busy. Even though I made plans for this fabric when I initially bought it over the winter, I realized I couldn't cut into it because I wasn't sure, and deep down I knew it wasn't right for this dress. I found myself searching through my dress patterns to find some patterns for Shirtwaist September, and I want to go into detail about that later. But in my search for some shirtwaist dresses, as soon as I saw this pattern, I instantly thought that I should use the Seafood Platter fabric, and I feel like I was right. Now let's talk Shirtwaist September. This was a concept that Ashley Main Makes and I came up with last year, but it was pretty much at the last minute, so we didn't have time to execute. So we wanted to bring it to the masses this year. This all came about because I am of the belief that a shirtwaist dress is the perfect introduction to vintage because they spanned across many decades and they look fantastic on so many different body shapes. I think they look good on most, if not all, body shapes. I believe when you're changing your style so drastically from modern to period dressing that it can be overwhelming, and the best way to start is by styling your modern clothes in a vintage way. And I felt like most people would have some sort of modern shirtwaist in their closet, or you could find one very easily in stores, so that way you could just style it in a vintage way and get an idea of what decade you would want to dress from. I shared this sentiment in a shirtwaist sewing video last year, and a lot of people disagreed. Mostly being people who thought that it only looked good on my body type and didn't really look good on bigger women. So I reached out to Ashley Main Makes and asked her if she liked wearing shirtwaist dresses, and then I shared some of the comments that I received. It was her idea to do a month-long challenge, challenging everyone whether you sew or don't sew, but as long as you dress vintage from any decade, which means you can wear older shirtwaist dresses, even the originals, to challenge everyone to wear them and showcase them. The more sizes, the better, so that way everyone, especially beginners, can see themselves represented. In order to participate in this challenge, we ask that you use the hashtag Shirtwaistseptember all month long whenever you're wearing a shirtwaist dress, whether that be you styling it for an outfit of the day or making one. We are going to be active on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, so be sure to tag us both. There's also a playlist here on YouTube that we'd love to add you to if you're a content creator making your submission. I think this could be a really cool project, especially if the historical costume community gets involved, because then it will really showcase the variety of options that someone might have. Among the first 5 vintage patterns that I took on, the shirtwaist dress was one of them. It was quite wonky. I remember it falling apart and not being in that great of a shape, but I wore it regularly. I dressed it up as well as down, and I felt amazing in that dress. It lasted a good 4 years before I eventually retired it, but from that pattern I was able to learn how to do small bust adjustment because the bodice on a shirtwaist dress is quite standard and straightforward, so it's a great learning tool as well. I practically lived in the style dress when I was breastfeeding because I had easy access to my bust and I was still able to dress in my normal style, so it was also very convenient. I've already decided what dress I want to make for the challenge, but I also think I want to tackle a second one because on my mile-long to-do sewing list, I've always wanted to make a special occasion shirtwaist, and I'm going to share the pattern with you here because I'm really excited about it. I've had this pattern for so many years and I keep imagining it in a red holiday taffeta. I feel like it would just be such a gorgeous, simple dress. I don't wear solids often, so the design really has to speak for itself, and I think this over-the-top collar and square neckline does exactly that. I made this video to update you guys on my sewing freeze as well as to announce Shirtwaist September, and I feel like I've gotten that accomplished, seeing as we're sewing up the side seams of the skirt with French seams and we're nearly done. Once I'm done sewing up the side seams, then I attach the bodice to the skirt. I hand sew the hem with a blind stitch. I did take it up an extra inch because this dress is quite long. I added snaps to the neckline and a hook and eye to the waist. You could make a belt to go with this, but I already have a handmade white belt and I felt like that would look better than a self-covered belt. So that is what I went with, and this is what it looks like on the dress form with the accessories. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing and leave me a little comment below. Will you be joining in on Shirtwaist September? I really hope you do. I look forward to seeing all of your makes and your styling. I paired this dress with a vintage purse that was hand painted by The Deli by Polly over on Instagram, so definitely check them out. The best free way to support me, my work, and this channel is to like, comment, subscribe, and share. But if you'd like to support me any further, you can leave me a virtual tip over on Ko-fi or become a bobbin over on Patreon. We would absolutely love to have you over there. The bobbins are usually the first to know everything. They were with me last summer when I was building breeze blocks, so they knew about this project a year in advance. So if you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. See you in the next one.